Hey, once again, welcome to Town Square Social for this edition of Coach's Night Out. Coach's Night Out at Town Square Social. This is about our fourth year of doing this. 145 Public Square, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, and catering is available at Town Square Social. These fine folks make this program possible. Advantage Home Solutions, LLC, Donnie Self and Rob Painter, Kenny Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams Realty, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, and the October 8th appearance of Tim Tebow, and D.T. McCall and Sons, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville. Coach's Night Out, taped on Wednesday night, and it's available on Thursday and through the weekend on these Facebook Live platforms, including the Wilson Post, Main Street Preps, Blue Devil Broadcasting. Also, you can find this show on my Twitter feed at TBSports85, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and the Main Street Media TV app on Roku. More places than I have any idea how to get to, but that's where everything is. And this week, Thursday football, Watertown's going to have the first Thursday game of the season as they go to Westmoreland. Cookeville at Lebanon on Friday, DCA at Friendship Christian, that's a 7:30 game on Friday, Wilson Central at Green Hill, and Mount Juliet Christian Academy at Webb Bell Buckle. My first guest, always batting leadoff for us, is Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils. Chuck, always good to see you, pal. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tommy. Glad to see you. It's always good to be here.
Practice this week, we'll get into that in just a moment, but you really played well in last Friday's 43-3 win over Wilson Central. After an initial kind of back and forth, Lebanon kind of got things rolling.
Yeah, well, we got the ball to open the game, drove down and scored on zone read. Jalen kept it out the back door and made the corner miss, and got us up 7-0. And they took the ball and methodically drove it, and finally we got a stop. And after we finally got honed in, and they had a little quarterback play there that they were running that we hadn't seen, and after we figured out how to fit that, kind of slowed things down. But we felt like played well. Not perfect, but played pretty well all game.
Well, I thought number 7 for them, the Kynes kid who lined up at the wing and wound up running the football a lot, he had a little bit of success, and I don't know if you felt like that was something you had seen a lot of, but I thought he was fairly effective.
Well, we had seen him on film some, but he was, he's a bigger kid and more of a blocker, and played weak side defensive end and inside linebacker, and but he was effective, and he's a load and definitely a good football player for him. And we was trying to make sure that we didn't let Newell hit the home run.
Yeah.
Also, so more emphasis on him than others. But offensively, especially early, they had us kind of off balance a little bit.
And it takes a while to kind of get that feel, doesn't it? You don't, and this is kind of out of the ordinary from several years ago. You really don't see that many wing T teams anymore.
Right. This is the only one that we'll face, and once we got Nolan scooted over with the motion, depending on where the ball was on the hash and some things to help him play the pass a little better. They hit us once or twice there quick on some passes, but just one of those things you got to fill out and bend but don't break. And our defense did a good job of that, keep getting them in the huddle and making them keep making plays.
I thought your secondary got involved in the run game really well.
Well, they have to. That's what the wing T's designed to do, is make they get them all in there, and then they get the jet sweep on the edge, the toss, rocket play, and your secondary has to come up and set the edge, and then once or twice they reverse field and come back around. Connor Gannon made a really good tackle in the open field.
I remember that one, yeah.
On Newell, where we were a little worried about that there on that play, but those guys. Nolan Sandifer and Bryce Neesick did a good job of, making the calls back there and getting us in the right coverage and things. And then, the corners have to set the edge, and it's just different brand of football than you see a lot in today's game.
Nizik got an interception, and I know you were waving at him to get down.
Yeah, well, we were laughing about that Monday, and he said, "Coach, did you think I was going to return it?" And I was like, "No, because I was going to tackle you if you got to me." But glad to have him back, and he baited the quarterback there a little bit and fell back inside on the flood route, and did a good job. And then with the hurt ankle, I didn't want nobody grabbing him,
Right,
tackling him. But he's a ball player, so he was thinking about scoring.
He was probably, after sitting out so much. I was there at that Vanderbilt 7-on-7 when he got hurt, and he was obviously angry at that time that something was wrong with him. He's the kind of kid who hated to miss work, and I'm sure was just jumping all over the place to get back in there.
He was. He's been ready to go, and that day he got hurt, he was more upset that the next day he was going to get to play at Vanderbilt for travel baseball, to play on in their stadium for the first time ever, and he hurt his leg, and so he was upset. But I told him it was actually probably good for him to take a little break, because he's a kid that plays 3 sports, and a very active kid, and does a lot of things. But good to have him back, and he's definitely. We kid Coach Carter back there that now that Nizik's back, he can take some time off, and Nizik will help coach him up. But it was good to have him.
Talk about that for a second. There's a kid that plays baseball, football, basketball. Lebanon High is certainly open to that. That's not a big deal in the fact that coaches are more than happy for that to happen, and the cooperation with Wakefield with baseball, McDowell with basketball, and maybe some places that's an issue.
Well, there are a lot of places that's an issue, but we've got a good group at Lebanon High School, and we all try to share and get along, and our schedules, when we're making them, we talk and coincide, and it's just a good camaraderie between all the coaches, and so it's a good thing to have, and and it lets a young man like Nizik be able to not worry about, all right, I got to be at football, but I want to be at baseball, or I got to be at basketball and I want to be at football. Any of those things, we talk, and we never make the kid decide. We do what's best for the kid.
Are there many kids like that in the school?
Well, there's several that play too. But, But I guess Bryce, as far as I know, is the only one that plays 3. There may be a freshman now that might, but it's very hard to do that, because you're booked almost year round, especially if you're a AAU travel baseball kind of guy. Plus with summer 7-on-7s with football and summer workouts, it's a lot, and camps, the way they do camps now, so it's a lot. But Bryce handles it well, and it's the adults have to be grown-ups and share.
You sent me an email last week about academics at Lebanon High, particularly with football, and some of the numbers, and the kids that have 4.0s in your football program was amazing. Talk about that, if you would, for a second.
Out of 87 kids, we had 31 kids that had a 4.0 or better, and we had 51 kids that had a 3.0 or better, and that's sophomores through seniors. So, very, very proud of our kids. We try to stress the academic side of it, and very proud of our kids. We've got some that are tops in their classes, and it's student athlete. For 90% of them, they'll never go on to play another down in college football or college sports, and it's about getting that education. And it's just like a weight room. You get out of it what you put into it, and we're very proud of some of those young men that are doing above and beyond, and then a lot that that 3.0 is a win in the classroom for them, and we're proud of that.
Well, and that speaks well to the fact that when you've got kids like that with those kind of academic numbers, if they have the opportunity and the ability, the skill set to play at the next level, they're eligible.
Right.
They're going to be able to go and play.
Right, and that's part of it, and the better you are academically with the GPA and the test scores, the more money you can get at, not everybody gets the full ride.
Yeah.
And so the Division II, the NAIs, the Division III kids, the ones that can do that, the better you are academically, the more money you'll get.
Cookeville comes up on Friday. Cookeville comes to Lebanon High. We had a tough one at Cookeville last year, if I remember right. We had to make a stand there late in the fourth quarter to win that football game and get out of there with a win. Kind of a different situation now that Jimmy Maynard's no longer the football coach at Cookeville. Great friend of yours. You coached with him at Smith County. You coached with him at Cookeville. You're not chasing that Jimmy Maynard ghost who says, if I do this, Jimmy's going to do this. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
Thank goodness. It's been a much easier week on our players and coaches.
You kind of overthink a lot of that stuff, I would bet.
And it was, last year was weird because just about every other morning or every night, we talk football coming in, going out, whether it's his team, my team, whether Tennessee, the Titans, whatever it is. We're just, friends that talk football. And, for about 3 months, we didn't do that. And, it was good to get it over with. And I had other good buddies on that staff too, but now there's most of those guys are gone, and there's one or two that are, buddies and acquaintances, but much easier this year to prepare and like you say, not overthink it and try to reinvent the wheel.
What about Cookeville? They're 1-1. What do you see when you look at the tape on Cookeville?
Well, they are they're running a 4-3 defense, very multiple out of it with the things that they do. A lot of pressure packages out of it, and we're trying to figure out which angle will they come at trying to defend us, and then they're spread on offense. You can tell it's a new staff. They don't do a lot of things offensively. They're trying to do things and do it well. Quarterback is a really good player. Played quarterback last year. Got hurt towards the end of the season, but he's back and healthy and playing well. And with the new staff, there's probably a little excitement, a little breath of fresh air there to start over and rejuvenate the program. Taylor Hennigan, played there. He's a college coach, came from Gardner-Webb. So, I feel like they're optimistic about the season. However, it's definitely in rebuild mode. So, from everything you look at, like I told our team, we're at a different stage right now than they are, and we're the hunted, and they want to come in here and take a chink out of the armor and do it, and there's no pressure on them. And coming off a big game for us, we can't have the letdown that sometimes happened after that big game. All right, well, Central, was circled on the schedule because of last year's game, and now this is the first region game, and we can't fall off. So, it's been more about us than it has about Cookeville, but it's things that will keep you up at night sometimes.
Well, and being about Lebanon is kind of the name of the game, isn't it? I mean, if Lebanon does Lebanon things, plays the way that you've practiced during the week, odds are you're going to be right where you want to be on Friday night.
Well, let's hope we play a little better than we practiced.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit.
It's been, like I said, I feel like our kids, they're high school kids, and we had to yesterday and today, I think, kind of snap them back into, all right, quit reading what's posted on social media and quit, everybody's patting on the back, oh, good job, good job, good job. Well, that one's over with, and the next one wants to hit you in the mouth too, and it would make their really jumpstart their season to come down here and be 1-0 in the region, and really put a damper on the things that we want to do as a football program to start 0-1 in the region. And I said, every Friday night is a new challenge and different, and we're just not going to show up and expect to, all right, let's pick right back up. It don't happen that way, and I tell them all the time, you're going to play like you practice, and if you practice terrible, good chance you're going to play terrible. I haven't been around many that haven't.
Yeah.
And so, we stressing that to our young men, and hopefully they got the message, and tomorrow will be a better day.
Special teams, so big in a high school football game. You had a couple of big special teams plays against Wilson Central.
Well, everybody knows Anthony Krause, a special young man, and they kicked it to him right down the middle. We got some good blocks. He was able to hit the seam running, ran through an arm tackle, and then his athletic ability took over. But also, we blocked the kick. Little brother Corral Key came through and untouched, and a lot of times you see kids make business decisions on those punts. I'm not going to lay out, and because I'm not sure where he's going to kick me at. So it's
And they're going to hit the ground if they leave
Right.
leave the ground. They're going to hit the ground.
And he laid out there and got it and got really sparked the momentum of safety, touchdown, fumble, touchdown to keep the game rolling and rolling fast for us. And and then football's a game of momentum, and you want to be on that side. You don't want to be against it. And we work hard on special teams, and Coach Williams takes pride in those units, and we spend the first 35 minutes of practice on special teams. We go out and do specialties. We go out and do our defensive warm-up, and then we've got a blocked off for specialties where we do different things. And it's something to be said about those kids and the mindset. I'm going to take pride in this, just like I'm going to take pride in offense or defense. I'm a starter. I'm on the field. Let me help change the game, because it only takes one or two blocks to crease one. And it's just one of those things that you have to do over and over again. Just like we're going to line up on defense and practice and do those things, and hopefully that is a game changer for us each and every week.
Well, you blocked the punt in each of the first two football games. You've run kickoffs back for touchdowns in each of the first two football games. You wonder if people are going to keep kicking the football to Anthony Crowell.
Well, I'm going to bet, I'm not a betting man, but I'll bet you a cold chocolate milk that they will not kick it to Anthony Crowell Friday night.
Yeah, I would think the sky kick or the angle kick.
Matter of fact, through the grapevine, I've been told that, and no need to practice it, that he's not going to touch it. So it may end up on the Lebanon Square, but he's not going to touch it. So we'll see how it goes. But if he doesn't touch it, that's an opportunity for somebody else. So we'll see how it goes.
You mentioned the chocolate milk. Let's talk about that for a second. Shop Springs Creamery, the official chocolate milk of Lebanon High football, and that has been made possible by the good people at Family Medical Associates and Pediatrics, who have footed the bill for a big shipment of chocolate milk every week to your locker room.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're handing out candy at Halloween after practice is over. They're coming through getting the chocolate milk or after workouts, depending on, some of them are getting one after workouts and after, but it has been a hit. It's been great. Family Medical, we met with them, and they graciously supported us and have helped us. And Shop Springs Creamery, we all three got together with Jacob Woodard, and it has been wonderful. Our kids love it, our coaches love it, and it's something that getting some nutrition in some of these kids that need it.
Speaking of meals, 4 meals this week, if I remember right, because you had something earlier in the week. Is that right?
We had we're supposed to have a freshman JV combo game at Station Camp, but because of rain and lightning, got canceled. But we still got to eat and fellowship a little bit with Emmanuel Baptist Church and their youth ministry, and new youth minister that's come in got to speak with us, and it was a fun time eating some chicken sandwiches.
Emmanuel Baptist Church, youth ministry, Church of God Worship and Ministry Center on Hartsville Pike, Bonnie Ryan at Zaxby's, who's always there for Lebanon High football, and Hillcrest Baptist Church providing the meals this week. And again, getting some food in them, you can't play on an empty stomach.
No, you can't play on an empty stomach, and these churches, like you said, provide the food, and they get to spend a little time with their kids and talk to them, have a little devotion. Brother Darren does it as a team or with the book we're reading. But Bonnie was Zaxby's, Miss Bonnie Ryan. She sponsors our game day shirts, which had been a hit, which we travel in and wear to school on Fridays. And we're going out there Friday morning to take a picture with her and her staff with the shirts. And she's been this is year number 6 that she's been right at the top of being a supporter of Lebanon football.
what a crowd last week for Wilson Central. Somebody took a shot from the visiting side, and the joint was full. It's come a long way in 6 years.
Yeah, I was comparing the picture of the Hartsville game, Trousdale County, my first year. Somebody took a picture late in the third quarter of that game versus the one Friday night versus a playoff game versus I think it was Riverdale, I'm not sure, and three large crowds. But for a home opener, probably the most that's ever been in that stadium, the student section, all dressed up, deep, the band, all the way down the sideline, around the fence in the end zone, and special. And that's the kind of support that you want. That's what we talk to our young men about. If you do things the right way and do it consistently the right way, they'll show up. They will support you. And we were walking out for the captains, and from the time we turn the corner, there's guys with flags there. There's people on the Pride Walk, and then you get to walk in. The band's there, and I told those four, I said, y'all look up and take this in, because it's not like this everywhere. And,
absolutely.
I have walked out of there before and thought, hey, where's everybody at? But I asked on Facebook, calling all Blue Devils, and they answered the call, and hopefully there's four more in the regular season. Two more here back to back of big games, and then homecoming and senior night. So hopefully they will keep coming and supporting us, and then hopefully maybe a playoff game, 2, 3, whatever we can do. But hopefully we can keep it up on all aspects. I said from the Pride Walk to the alma mater, it was a really good night, and so hopefully we can duplicate that again and keep Blue Devil pride alive and well.
Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us here on the opening segment. Coach's Night Out from Town Square Social, Lebanon's Public Square. We'll be back with more after these words. Welcome back to the second segment of Town Square Social hosting Coach's Night Out. Taping it on a Wednesday, show it back Thursday at 6:30, and it'll run all weekend. And of course, you can watch it at work when nobody's watching you. So that's always been pretty good about keeping up with our hits on this. Advantage Home Solutions, LLC, Rob Painter and Donnie Self, sponsors. Kenny Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams Realty. THW Insurance Services, LLC. Cumberland University Athletics, and the October 8th appearance of Tim Tebow at Noakes Lassiter Field. And DT McCall, Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Franklin, and Cookeville are sponsors for this program. The Coaches Night Out airs on multiple Facebook Live platforms, including the Wilson Post, Main Street Preps, Blue Devil Broadcasting, Twitter at TB Sports 85, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, MSM, that's Main Street Media's TV app on Roku. So all kinds of opportunities to watch this show again, and we do appreciate folks who've turned in. We've had really good numbers despite having it on tape, and we're working diligently to try to get the internet signal back up where we want it to be. But thanks to Justin Kulik, our producer, for helping put this thing together every week. Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland University, my guest here on this segment, on the second segment. And Tim, what an offensive explosion there late in the second quarter. You go on to win the football game by a score of 34-7 over Point University, but it was back and forth in the early going, and it was like the dam broke, and here came the Phoenix.
Yeah, and we kind of felt that way. If we'd ever get points on the board, we thought we could snowball a little bit, and it happened. We got a big play, got a score. Kind of held them. Defense did a great job, and we're like, we're going to get another touchdown before we go in the half. And for whatever reason, after we got that one, they kept deciding to throw the ball and just kept giving us the ball back. And
yeah, they were stopping the clock.
Yeah, they were stopping the clock. We weren't having to use our timeouts, and then they muffed a couple of punts, not just one, a couple of them. So
yeah, they couldn't get the snap.
We got the ball twice, I think, inside the 25-yard line, and put 28 points on the board, and I think in a 4-minute span or whatever, which it was awesome. And then, that kind of deflated them, period. And then we weren't very crisp on offense. We did some really good things, but it had a couple of good drives, but we'd have loved to have finished some drives in the second half with touchdowns instead of field goals. And, that's a double-edged sword, because glad we're making field goals, because we kind of struggled at that last year. So, that helps that part. But you want to finish drives and get scores. But definitely tickled to start the season off the way we did.
There was a situation where after one of those drop snaps, you got the ball in great field position inside the red zone, and you immediately threw the ball in the end zone, and Jalen Taylor makes a catch for a touchdown. You wasted no time.
Right.
The sudden change after the turnover. Hey, let's go. Let's knock it out right now.
And you want to try that. Most guys want to try a shot right after a sudden change. Sometimes where you get the sudden change, you might not want to do that. But definitely if you get the ball inside the 25 there, then you definitely want to put the dagger in right there. And it came, the play call was exactly what we wanted, and they got the exact defense we wanted, so it was pretty much just a pitch and catch, and we did a great job of executing it.
Luke Holloway, your quarterback, started out kind of rough. I think I charted it 2 out of 11 passing to start, but he wound up, and there were some drops along the way, and to give him credit, he was throwing the ball in the neighborhood, but wound up very strong and threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for a touchdown. What kind of grade do you give Luke on that first game?
Take the first quarter out of it, the first couple of series, and you got to look at it because, everybody he's a transfer quarterback, but he didn't play at Eastern Kentucky. He was redshirted, so it was his first college football game too. He had some nerves. He's not ever going to show it, and you talk to him after the game, he's a cool cucumber.
Yeah.
He's got ice in his veins, never shows emotion, but he was a little excited and wasn't getting the ball right where he needed to in those first. But when he settled down, and it's usually how it is, you get hit a couple times and, all right, well, I'm in this football game.
Yeah.
He did. He settled down. He played really well, and it would have had even better completion percentage if there weren't some drops too. I mean, because there were quite a few drops as well. And but I thought for the first game, I thought he did well. I kind of figured it was going to, I didn't think he was going to come in and go 12 for 12. And there's going to be some nerves about it. And that's where we were as a football team, because him, along with several others, was their first game for Cumberland.
Yeah.
So there were going to be some butterflies out there that you had to play through. And luckily for us, our defense played lights out except for one play with busted coverage. It was never a real threat the whole game. Even the play was a long play that happened. So it was good that our defense put us in those situations where we could calm down and relax and play.
Talk about the way the defense played. That has been a trademark for the last several years. The Cumberland's usually going to play pretty good defense. They're going to be around the football, going to be where they're supposed to be, run to the football. And that's exactly what you guys did. And you managed to come up with a couple of turnovers.
Of turnovers, and to be honest with you, I think we dropped 3 other interceptions. We had a couple of interceptions, dropped 3 of them. So, could have had a bunch of interceptions, but we had some forced turnovers too. And the best example of the game is Ishmael Abdul should have had a sack in the backfield. Last year he probably quits on the play, but this year he just turns around and he makes the play 10 yards down.
He chased that guy 15 yards
and knocked the ball out.
loose.
And we got the ball back. That, to me, is that just is an example of what we want our defense to do every week, because, sometimes it's not going to happen how you want it, but it's how you finish. It's not how you start it. And he never gave up on the play. Chased the quarterback. Quarterback got to the edge. He chased him around the edge and chased him for 15 yards, knocked the ball out, and it was a huge play in the game.
And right there on your sideline, and your sideline goes nuts.
Yes, but that just, I'm happy for him too, because he's a very athletic kid, and that could propel him to do just unbelievable things all year.
How did the rotation go on the defensive front? Were you able to get several guys in there?
There were a lot of guys that played, and we still have a couple that we hadn't played yet. And that's the beauty of now they have the rule where you can play in 2 games and it not count or whatever. So we're going to have a pretty good rotation going until we decide who it's going to be. And part of that is also you can get guys in shape, a little better in shape, because I think that was part of our problem offensively, was we still got to get in shape a little bit.
The running back situation, I thought Shepard and Johnson both played awfully well.
They did. When you start reflecting back on and they would have had a lot more yards. I know we had 3 runs that were 15 and 20-yard runs that got called back for holding. So we would have had, they'd have had even better stats. And we might, looking back on the game afterwards, there were times when we probably should have ran them a little more than we probably did. But you can't ask for a better, Nick Burge came in too and gave us a spell, and
Caught the ball out of the backfield too, if I remember right.
And all of them can do that, and then pretty soon we'll be getting Jarius Johnson into the mix. He's had a bumped up knee that he had in preseason, and we're getting him healthy, and so we'll have a 4-headed monster before long.
I've gone blank on your tight end, number 0.
Joe Johnson.
Looks like he's got a skill set there.
He does. He's a weapon in the sense that when he was out in Arkansas Monticello in college, he was a receiver. But he's somebody that you can bring in and play at H, tight end, or whatever. He's a big matchup problem.
I would assume so. Normally, a linebacker or a strong safety's got to be on him.
And he's a terrible matchup for them. And he's a physical. That's why we got him playing the H-back tight end, because he can block and do all those things as well too. He's kind of you know, in our years past that he was here, I think he was here when the program started back. Ian Hafner. He's a lot like Ian, but he's a little bigger.
Yeah.
Just a little bigger, but he plays a lot like Ian. Ian would have been great in this offense at that same position, but you know, Joe does make a great matchup nightmare for people.
How did it feel to see Shaw Niblett go out there and get 7 catches, break a couple of tackles, had to sit out after that knee injury? It looks like he's all the way back.
He's finally back. Like last year, you know, he played, but he was cleared and he was back, but mentally he wasn't back yet.
Yeah.
He was still scared to death that he was going to hurt his knee or whatever. But I'm tickled for him because he is a very good football player, and
He's a coach's son. He gets it. He understands.
He gets it, and he did everything we asked him to do Saturday, and he's going to be a vital part of our success, and that is what he's capable of doing. Actually, he's capable of doing more. So he's one that I think we got to get in a little better shape, because I think toward the end of the game, especially with our skill guys, they got tired, and that's where some of the drops were going and all that. So we got to get him. But I was tickled and just so proud of him, because it is hard to come back from, especially as a skilled person. It's hard to come back from that, to trust it. You know, the surgery, everything's done right, but it's just a matter of letting loose and just letting it go. He could have done that last year, but most people, it takes them 2 years to get over an ACL.
What about the crowd last Saturday?
I just tickled. I just love this town because they support us, and you know, our home size was packed.
Yeah, it was full.
And they didn't leave early. You know,
that's 2,500 people. On one side,
and they were part of the reason we won, because they were loud and cheering those our kids on, and it makes me proud, just because our community does support us a good deal.
What do you know about Weber International? That game's going to be a 1:30 game on Saturday, a little bit different environment. You had the 6 o'clock start for Point. This is 1:30, the hot of the day. Talk about Weber International a little.
Glad they're making the 14-hour bus ride up here, not us. That'll be, I guess, us next year. But they're 3-3 stack on defense. They're going to bring 1 to 2 linebackers every play. So they bring 1 or 2 of them. You know, with that defense, that's how you do it. You try to bring a lot of pressure from different areas, try to confuse the offense.
Is that kind of an umbrella on the back end with the 5 DBs, or they walk those guys up in a run game?
They try to sometimes to get to man coverage a lot of times, even though they don't bring everybody. They kind of man up on the outside and just have a free safety in the back. But there's going to be spots where we can take advantage of it. They do tend to play a lot of cover 3-2, though. They don't want to get beat deep.
Yeah.
Even when they play man, it's catch man, and they're bailing because they don't want to get beat over the top. So, you know, might not have a home run shot or whatever, but there's going to be some holes in there that we can really take advantage of. And then offensively, they're a lot like us. They'll formation you and motion you to death, but really it's all show to get you out of whack or whatever. But they're going to try to run the ball, and they'll do some option type stuff out of their shotgun and stuff too. They got a quarterback that can run a little bit, but they're more athletic than Point. So that's going to be the challenge, is they're going to be a little bit more athletically offensively than Point was. They got some dudes on defense, but they also, I think in some spots, we got an athletic advantage on them as well.
I'm asking this totally blind. I did not look. How did they do last week?
They won They played a team out of Oakland, California. It's a first-year program.
Yeah, okay.
Lincoln University. They're going to be a Division II team, I think. But
they traveled from.
Traveled Oakland, California, and so they only played a half. They had a rain delay and lightning delays down there.
Imagine
and
that.
They couldn't miss. Yeah, exactly. They couldn't miss their flight, so they couldn't they had to end up calling it after the half, right after the half. But they won 35 or 34 to 10 or something like that. So
At least you got some film on those
we got
guys.
some film on them, but they didn't play a whole game. At first, I'm emailing and calling them thinking we're getting hoodooed because we only got half a game. But it turned out that they were in lightning delays and everything. So
Can you imagine flying cross country to play an NAIA football game?
Tim Mathis wouldn't do it.
That's
It doesn't make sense to me. But just honestly, both of them were looking for a win, so it's probably why they did what they did. But I wouldn't have flew cross country. There's nobody over there I want to play bad enough to.
I can't even imagine the expense involved. And then again, they got to get that return flight and get out of there.
Right, and they couldn't back it up.
Yeah.
And so, that's my thing.
That's happened to you.
If I'm gonna go that far in a game, we're gonna play the game.
Well, that's happened to you a couple of times. We went to Arkansas,
Yes.
and I didn't think we'd ever get out of that place.
I didn't either.
And then you guys went down to Florida and had the lightning delay, and we didn't think you was going to get back on the field.
Right, and that's the thing, and it's just, that's part of it, and that's the problem with, I guess, flying as well is, you're at the mercy of that return flight too, and so that makes for a challenging deal. So, we did get to see them. Lincoln, the team they played, weren't very good, so it wasn't. You don't spend a whole lot of time on that. We had film from them last year, so, and it's the same team, same coaching staff returning. So luckily we had that in place.
Are there a couple of things, a couple of points of emphasis Cumberland's going to have to take care of against Weber coming up on Saturday?
I mean, I think it. Always probably going to sound like this is somebody that repeats. It's going to be we got to clean up our pre-snap and post-snap penalties. Jumping off sides and or not lining up correctly and getting illegal formation. We got to clean up that stuff, and it's just it helped us win this last game. It's ball who leads in the turnover. Who's got the most and who has the least. Who has the best takeaways is going to be a huge part in the game. And then, I thought we got to do a little better job protecting our punt, even though we got one block and he still averaged 30-something yards.
Hewitt, when he got the chance
yards.
to kick it, he mashed it.
We've got to clean up if they're doing different things, we got to clean up, make sure, and that's what we've been working on all week, clean up make sure we know who we're blocking and everything. And then a couple of times it was on Matthew was trying to put it on a tee and go get a glass of water before he kicked the ball, and he got to get it out a little quicker. But he did a good, even like I said, even with his block kick, we still averaged 33 yards a punt, which is those first two he hit. Now he knocked snot out of those balls, and they went a good ways.
Playing at home, the hope is, hey, you can get another one under your belt. What a way to start the season.
Yeah.
To come out of the gate, a couple of wins under your belt.
It is a great way to start the season is playing at home first couple of games. And my biggest hope too is 1:30 kickoff that we have another great crowd that's backing us there, because it makes a difference, and it means the world to the kids.
Well, and sitting on that side of the stadium, they'll have shade.
Right, and
The other side's awful.
Sun will be beating down on them big time the whole time. So nothing wrong with that either.
Tim, thanks for the visit. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about the Tim Tebow visit that's coming up October the 8th. Again, another big opportunity for folks to come to Noakes Lassiter and to see something they're probably never going to get a chance to see live again.
Right, and it's it's coming up just a little over a month away, and we hope to have a big crowd there.
Tickets $10. You can go to gocumberlandathletics.com/tickets and find those tickets for the Tebow appearance on October the 8th. Tim Mathis, thanks for being here, pal. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Phoenix.
We'll be back with more, the final segment of Coach's Night Out from Town Square Social after these words. Our third and final segment of Coach's Night Out from Town Square Social, 145 Public Square, Lebanon, brought to you by Advantage Home Solutions, LLC, Rob Painter and Donnie Self, Kenny Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams Realty, THW Insurance Services, Cumberland University Athletics, and the October 8 appearance of Tim Tebow at Noakes Lassiter Field. And DT McCall and Son has signed on with us as a sponsor this year. Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville, free delivery and assembly, 125 miles from Carthage. And we had those guys at our house last week. Bobby K got some living room furniture from DT McCall, and they don't leave till it's right. So that's what I admire. It means I don't have to do anything. They just come in and get it all knocked out. Gavin Webster, head coach at Watertown High School with us here, and coach coming off a really nice win last week, 28-13. You go to Gordonsville. You've been playing Gordonsville for years. Watertown and Gordonsville have always played, and a good win, and you played the way you wanted to play.
We did, we got a real good. That's a great win when you go over and beat them at third place. But our kids' effort, our players' effort was just great once again. They just played really hard, and we were lucky enough to come away with a win there.
Well, and you knocked the ball loose a few times too. In fact, the Cresswell kid, your outside linebacker, was the JM Insurance Wilson County Beast of the Week for his efforts, recovered 2 fumbles and intercepted a pass and ran it back for a touchdown. That's a pretty good night's work for a high school linebacker.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many tackles he had, but it seemed like he was all over the field all night. But, when you can come up with 2 fumble recoveries and then a pick 6 for a touchdown, and then plus he had 2 or 3 carries on offense and had some good yardage there. So Garner had a really good night.
And if I remember from what our guy who wrote the story was telling me, that one of the fumbles was on a kick return that you had scored, kicked it to him, and then you got the ball right back.
Yeah, they scored. We took it down and scored, and then they scored. After we took it down and scored, made it 21-7. We did a little pooch kick.
Okay.
And it hit just right. Guy bobbled it, and we jumped on it and got it, and then took it in, scored another, made it 28-7.
What a momentum swing there.
It was big.
Well, and sometimes you think this might be the time to do it, but to have the guts to call it and say, let's go ahead and try it.
Yeah. Well, we kicked it pretty high to the 30, kind of what we were aiming for, and then tried it a couple more times and didn't get it done, but we finally got it over where we wanted it, and he dropped it, and we got on it.
Your quarterback played awfully well, Caden West.
Yeah, Caden West.
130-something yards, 3 touchdowns. He was a big part of what you were doing in the run game.
Oh yeah, I mean you're going to have to stop. We got 2 or 3 backs. Caden is our quarterback, and then we got a couple little running backs we'll rotate in there. But he's a big part of our offense. He's gonna run the ball. And we've got little running backs can run the ball. But he had a workload the other night. I think it was 20. Probably around 25 carries for 130, 140, which is a pretty good night. 3 touchdowns, I think anybody would love to have that for a night.
Well, and I give you and the coaching staff a world of credit because, and we've talked about this, going back to Dalton Phillips when you played at the old field, and then Ty Jobe after him, you've been awfully fortunate with the run of throwers that you've had in your program, and now it's just a little bit different, and you've been willing to change kind of the face of your offense.
Yeah, it is, and it's not that we can't throw it. It's not great at what we do right now, and we work at it every day, and we have to do it. We will, but we're trying to control the clock. We're trying to control the game and trying to get some turnovers.
Huddling now.
Yep, we're huddling now, which you hadn't done in years.
Yeah.
So, we're doing all that now.
And it seems like you found a way to get your guys in a position to be successful, and that's what
yeah.
coaching's all about.
Yeah, I had turned the offense over to Coach Cody Evans this year, and Coach Evans, he loves it. He's been working it. It was time, and he really loves what he does, and he's up in the press box, and he can see well up there, and he can kind of see if I'm doing this, they're not giving us that, we can get it, go somewhere else, so. He does a good job with that.
How is that communication with Cody up there? Who's he talking to?
He's talking to Seth Price. Coach Price.
And so that's the
they
signal system?
relay. That's the signal. Cody will call it, and then Seth signal it in, and that's how we're.
Well, and because you're in the huddle now, you're taking probably a little more time, and you're making sure of what's happening when you come out of the huddle.
And, we are doing that, and we got 2 or 3 tempos we can do. If we want to play up pace, we can a little bit. Nothing like what we used to do.
Right.
But, we can change the pace of the game a little bit. But other night, we knew what we had to do the other night. And that was control the clock, keep the ball in our hands, have long, sustained drives, and hopefully come away with some points.
Your offensive line had to play well in that game.
They did. We talked before the game, and it's just like every week. I just felt like if we could dominate the offensive line and the defensive line, control the trenches, we're going to win this ball game, and that's what we did on both sides of the ball. They made some plays here and there, but overall I felt like we dominated the line of scrimmage.
And you've got some young guys playing up front on both sides, don't you?
Yeah, we got we're pretty much junior oriented.
Okay.
Is what we are. I've got 8
Because I know
seniors.
you've got 8 seniors.
Got 8 seniors. We're pretty much junior oriented. Got a little sophomore running back that'll rotate in with a junior running back, Kwame C. and Caden Carter, those 2 guys. Then got another little sophomore that plays receiver. He will rotate in with someone else, Marcus Reynolds, and he also plays defense. So, got a few sophomores. We're junior heavy. Got 8 seniors, so.
Well, and defensively, Hackett always does a great job defensively, and it doesn't matter who he's got over there. He's figured out what Watertown can do defensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach Hackett does a great job there. He can get the kids in the right position, call the right plays. Now it's up to them to make it, and do what they're supposed to do. But he does an outstanding job with that defense.
Defending region champ for the last 3 years, 4 years. You open up region play Thursday night, first Thursday night of the county. You go to Westmoreland. Has the timing of this thing, has that bothered you any all in preparation?
Yeah, pretty short week. We had it wasn't a good week to have a JV game, but we had a JV game with Gornsville Monday night. So we had to have a quick practice Monday. Usually Monday is it's a long day for us usually.
Yeah.
And we had to cut that short. And then, of course, we had a regular day yesterday and did something I've never done before. Usually the day before is walkthrough. We went out and pads today and worked on some stuff that we need to work on. We was in shorts and helmets and shorts, helmet, shoulder pads, and shorts. And got some work in today, a couple hours, and just because we just felt like we needed it.
Have the kids adapted to that okay? Did you have some good work?
Had some good work. We did.
I know, and I haven't seen Westmoreland in years, but they were always a wing T football team.
Still wing T.
Defensively, what are you going to see?
Probably a 50. They may shift. They may kick it to some even a little bit, but they base out of a 50.
What kind of personnel have they got? Do they have some guys who can really go over there?
Yeah, defensively, I'm really impressed with them. They got a good defensive front up front, linemen, very physical, very strong, look to be. Offensively, got their quarterback returning. Can't think of his name, but number 14. But he's returning, and he's very athletic. Got some good little backs back there in the backfield. So, they do some good things that we'll have to be ready for.
Will they formation a lot out of the wing stuff?
Yeah, they will. They'll formation, motion very little, but they need to play. They'll put the ball in the quarterback's hands. It seems like they'll run some. They like running some veer and things like that with him. So he's athletic.
What's Watertown going to have to do to be where you want to be in the fourth quarter of that game?
Well, again, it's going to come down to protecting the football, and we did that very well last week. And let's hope we can carry that over. You know, week before we had 4 turnovers. Hard to beat anybody with 4 turnovers. We protected the ball. Last week had 1 turnover, and we created 4. So I feel like we need to win the turnover battle. We need to win the kicking game. And if we can control that offensive and defensive front, we'll be okay.
And again, play at Watertown's pace.
Yeah, we're going to play at our pace and do what we need to do or have to do.
I want to talk about a Watertown kid who's really having a good career at Western Kentucky, Rusty Stats, who played for you. He was all-county, he was all-state. He may have been a Mr. Football nominee.
Yeah.
And Rusty is a starting center at Western Kentucky, returning starting center, and he was preseason all-Conference USA.
Yeah, Conference USA.
What a great job he's done.
Rusty has really come of his own. You know, they moved him to center when he got to Western, and really good position for him. And you know, there's nothing. The sky's the limit to him. You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his future holds for him. But he's done a great job at Western.
Well, he's on a watch list, the Dave Remington watch
Remington,
list,
yeah.
which is given each year to the outstanding center in the country, and he's part of a group in a pass-happy offense that protected the quarterback up. Last year, they had very few sacks.
Yeah, very few.
And I got to see a little bit of them on TV in that game with Austin Peay, and I don't think they played very well against Austin Peay, what I saw. But Western, won the football game. But, there's one of your guys out there on TV playing, and it can happen.
It can. That's a good representation for Watertown. Rusty's an outstanding young man and a football player, and, really want to see him succeed.
Well, his family's Watertown.
Oh, yeah.
I know the sister played basketball.
She did.
His folks were in it, and it's good to see some of those kids from here in Wilson County being able to have that kind of success.
Yeah, it is.
Gavin Webster, head coach at Watertown, with us here as we close out the show. Best of luck on Thursday night. Go get them and see if you can go 1-0 in the region, pal.
Thank you, Tom.
Coach Webster with us here as we close out the program. Town Square Social is our home site, and they have been awfully good, Cody and Kyle, allowing us to come in here and have this show. Thanks very much to them. Advantage Home Solutions, LLC, Kenny Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams Realty, THW Insurance Service, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, and the October 8th appearance of Tim Tebow, D.T. McCall and Son, Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Franklin, Cookeville. Thanks for being with us. I'm Tommy Bryan, and I'll talk to you later.